All right, good morning, you guys. How is everybody? Doing good? Awesome. Cold, wet, and snowing. I'm going to start my video here. Hi, guys. I'm in my kitchen right now, so you can see my fridge. I don't think I showed my video before, so I wanted to say hello. I know it's kind of the final week, but I figure since I actually did my hair today, I would say hello. My hair is usually a mess. So welcome, everyone. It looks like we have a full house. Yeah, it's been raining here. Oh, thank you. I just straighten it. So, yeah, it's raining. It's been raining for the last 2 days. I think it's going to rain all week. So, just gotta get past this, and then I'm sure we'll get snow and then rain again. It's like one of those things, but just trying to get through this last bit of winter here and your finals week. Yeah, my hair was like really bad early this morning. My hair is actually naturally curly, so when I get up in the morning, I look like banshee lady. Although, I mean, it's cute if you like want to go that route, but you have to control it, I guess, right? Okay, I'm going to stop my video here. I don't want to run up the memory here. All right, but at least you got to see my face. Oh, every morning a banshee. Actually, my daughter looks like that too. She has straight hair, but she wakes up, her hair's like, I don't know, like she's been running wild in the woods all night or something. It's kind of funny. So how is everybody doing today? It's great to see a full house almost, huh? Like at least more than a couple people. Is everybody ready for finals week? Comes quick, doesn't it? Yes. Yeah, so here we are, finals week. You guys should be well on your way, hopefully, to getting your final revisions done. Yepers. I had a lot of grading to do over the weekend, so thank you for being so patient with me. I had a lot of, see, it's not too bad whenever I have, it's not actually too bad. It takes me a while to get through grading, but what makes it a little bit more challenging is whenever the late work comes in, because it's like, it just takes a little bit longer. So your hair is a hot mess. Critiques today. Here you go. Yeah, so I will share a couple of your, I pulled a few of your examples from last week. Take a look at those. And we'll just go forward with your discussion today, just review. And also your assignment 4, which is your final assignment. So talking about creative craftsmanship today, beauty is in the details, pre-flighting files before outputting, and preparation of final artwork. So we're going to kind of talk about these things as we go forward here. Let's go ahead, and before I actually get into your discussion, does anybody have any questions about anything so far? We're going to kind of open it up to you guys after the lecture too, but before we get started here, did anybody have any questions, comments? Nope. Okay. Just a few things that I noticed that I did want to point out, and I think I pointed this out before, just to kind of make sure you guys are paying attention. I noticed that some of your panels still aren't in the correct order. So please pay attention to the feedback. If I said, swap your front cover to your back cover. Okay, good. Yes. And, a lot of you guys did a great job with your revisions, by the way. I saw a lot of progression in the last week. So really, really, really cool to see that. Yeah. But just make sure you're reading the feedback. I send it to you via PDF. So all you need to do is download it on your computer, open it up in Adobe Acrobat, and then click on the marks or the sticky notes. But just kind of pay attention to that. Some of you guys are changing the way that the logo looks. So don't change it. The only thing that you need to change the logo in regards to anything is color. But don't change the typeface. Don't change where the mark is. Keep it very consistent. To almost think of it as the client's giving you their logo to place on their branding, on their packaging. So if you go ahead and just change it, and they see that their brand doesn't look like the same, the logo mark doesn't look like the same, they're going to be kind of upset about that. So the only thing that you should be changing anything in regards to the logo is the color. So just kind of keep that in mind. All right, what else did I see in your label packaging? Just hierarchy, just pay attention to that. Some of you guys kind of had a little bit of problem with what to look at first, what to make more emphasized or have more emphasis on. So I saw a lot of this too, and I made a lot of comments about this on your box, your actual package. The warning and the ingredients, like all of that information should be much, much smaller. It should be like 8 or 9 point type. Some of you guys had it like 12, 14 point type. Uh-oh. You can't hear me? Okay. All right. Interesting. All right. Well, I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with that. Somebody's having audio issues here. Can everybody else hear me? Okay. Oh, okay. Well, if you can't, obviously the lecture recording that will be posted after this. Hopefully you should be able to hear that at least. You might be able to hear it better. It's just you. Okay. Well, that's a bummer. All right. Well, just kind of a mention about some things to think about when you're doing your packaging. Oh, okay. There you go. Yeah. Try to log off and log back in. That's a good suggestion. Sometimes you just need to do that. You try to do that. Okay. Yeah, it could be internet speed too related. So yeah. But the recording will probably definitely be fine. So if you need to review that, you can do so. Okay, so learning objectives for this final phase of your week and final phase of your project, you guys are going to be creating a print-ready file that meets printing standards for package creation, analyze client feedback, and adjust to meet the content strategy goals, create realistic-looking packaging mock-ups for professional presentation. So finally, the artwork has been approved by the client, and you are all set to deliver the final design. This week, you will create a 3D model of your artwork and prepare final artwork for printing. Don't forget, course media. A lot of really beneficial resources in week 4 for this week. And just articles or required articles to check out. So why mock-ups are useful, 10 design tips for effective product markups. So it's about mock-ups. And then lynda.com, obviously this is all about proofing your design and as well as creating a PDF presentation. There's also a video down here about how to create Photoshop Smart Object Warping tutorial. There you go. Thanks, Naomi. Should give you a little help there. Just to kind of, we're going to look at discussions too, but I did post an announcements last night, something just to help you through, just to start thinking about certain things. An infographic about how to set up and prepare your design files for print. It's just a nice little guide here to check out before or while you're discussing for week 4. Also, just a heads up, I did post in announcements. I had some of you guys just having some issues with life itself, just life getting in the way of everything, and we all know how that goes. So I had a few of you asking about opening up the Assessment 2 quiz. So I went ahead and unlocked that for until the end of this class. So you have, if you haven't been able to take it yet, you have until February 16th to do so. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at your discussion 4. A lot of you guys got started on this, which is great to see you guys getting a jump on this. And this is an important topic because this is sometimes we don't think about this. And I know whenever I was an undergrad student, we covered things like this, but it wasn't a whole class about it, or it wasn't dug into deeper than it should have probably been. Because I remember whenever I was got my first ad agency job right out of my undergrad, 4 years of college, I got my bachelor's and I went into my first ad agency job, and I remember a lot of things that I never learned in school about pre-flighting and getting your files ready for print. So I did have a big learning curve for that. For some reason, I don't know why it wasn't touched upon as much when I was going through school, but I just remember thinking, oh, I don't know how to do this. Some of the steps were kind of new to me. So it's important to understand that pre-flighting files is super important before, it's part of the process. It's not just about creating great work that works, it's effective and meaningful, but how it's produced, you need to make sure it's set up for success as far as printing goes or launching. So pre-flighting files, things to think about are touched upon in this discussion, which is great. So it kind of gets you thinking about things that you need to check upon before sending your files to a printer. Now, I do want to say every printer is different. So you will learn a lot when you do get out into the working world, that every printer could have different specifications. So anytime that you're looking up a printer, say you're kind of getting some bids, meaning seeing what they'll do for you for your print job, you want to make sure that if you go with that certain printer, you want to check out what their specifications are. And typically they have it on their website where they'll tell you exactly what they need before you print your file. Do they need like a final high-res PDF? Do they take, compressed zip files of your original native file along with the packaged file? Those things you will get more information from the printer. But it is super important to go through your checklist before, making sure that your document is set up. Your color mode is set right, resolution is set right for the purpose of your piece, and also, embedding images and all that good stuff. So you may learn a lot in this discussion that or maybe make more aware of that maybe you haven't really thought about. So go ahead and read through the background. It just talks about, this whole step in the process of getting your stuff ready for print. The prompt is what you guys are trying to solve here in the discussion, the questions being asked. So every file that is going to print requires careful checking before being sent to a print service provider for imaging to film or plates. Why do we pre-flight files in the first place? Say that 5 times fast, right? If you want to minimize problems in a print job, you check all the contents. There are many components to the final artwork and supporting files that go along with it, and each one is crucial to the project being printed correctly. For this discussion, you're going to research the necessary steps designers can take to ensure that their artwork prints correctly. Identify 3 sections of your digital file you would check when pre-flighting it before sending it to printer. So you don't necessarily have to talk about each one of these bulleted points, but maybe 3 sections of your digital file and kind of touch upon some of these bulleted points here. So checking for replace missing fonts in your document. Why will missing fonts bring your document to a complete stop? Yeah, or overset text, yep. Yep, sometimes we have our copy box kind of over the artboard, things to check out. So why will missing fonts bring your document to a complete stop? Well, that's, obviously that's pretty obvious. If you don't have a font that's, the printer has. If you're not packaging your file for the printer and not outlining your fonts, you could have an issue where the printer doesn't have your fonts. Kind of like the same situation where I'm reviewing your native files, and if you don't outline your fonts and I don't have your font, I can't see how, obviously your work looks different because it's trying to replace it. So either packaging your file appropriately or outlining your fonts is definitely something that you need to be aware of and do so going forward when you finalize your files. Check to ensure that there are no missing or modified images. You know, sometimes it still shows up. It may look pixelated in your image, say in InDesign. Say you place an image in there and it's linked to a folder that you have, okay? And it looks great. And say you're working on this file for a couple weeks and then you accidentally trash that folder, but you don't trash the image in the actual text or actual rectangle frame box. It's still going to show in that box, and it's kind of confusing, but what's going to happen, because you threw that folder out that it links to, it's probably not going to show as sharp as it looks. So usually that's an indicator that, you know, there's something going on here. This image isn't linking. But also in InDesign, there should be at the very bottom a little pre-flight warning saying, and when you do a packaged, when you package your file, it should give you the warning as well, that there's a missing link in there for the image. Yep, I think everybody kind of makes that mistake, accidentally throwing files out, and then it looks like it's in the file still. It still looks like it's in the native file because you can see it, but it looks maybe pixelated or looks different, and then you go to package it, and then you have this warning that you don't have, you know, it's like a missing image. It's just because you see an image in your document does not mean it will be there when you send it to the printer. So that's exactly what that's talking about. The next point is check that each image is in the proper color mode. So CMYK is for the printing press when you know you're going to have it sent to print on paper, like a web press, in addition to being in the correct file format. For that, you know, a printer may want a high-res TIFF file for the final file to print. They might want a high-res PDF. So that's, again, something that you need to check with the printer too. Replace, but you wouldn't send them like a low-res JPEG, for example. So you want to make sure that you have the original file. Replace or update any images that are still in RGB mode. How can this delay print production of your job and cause additional charges? Well, think about it. I've had instances where printers will come back to me and say, you know, these are all in RGB. We need to have either you change it or somebody in the production side of their department change it, but then they charge you extra, you know, for that. So it's kind of doing more work. Eliminate embedded images. Why should you avoid embedding graphics? Yeah, I know, but it's a way to, you know, obviously. And it could be a big file where a lot of things need to be changed mode, like the color mode wise, so it might take longer. You know, some documents are like 200-page books that have images in them, or magazines. So it's not just like an ad that has one image in it sometimes, so yeah. What do you guys think? Why should you avoid embedding graphics? Oh, sorry guys, phone call in here. Actually, it's the opposite. So embedding means you don't rely on a linked file, so it's not a linked image. Embedding means you don't need, say, so if you place an embedded file, it won't be linked to an outside image in a folder, which is good because then you don't have to worry about supplying the image, right? Because it's not linked. Like I was just telling you, if you have it in a folder and you're linking it to that box, if you throw that folder out, you're going to have a problem. But when you embed an image, you won't have that problem because it's not linking to that folder. But why would you want to avoid it? So you should use embedded because if you change the image, it will update. It won't update. No, pixelation, as long as you have the high res, it should be good. As far as changing the update, I think it's a little harder to replace it. It's not like you can just double click on it and it replaces it. You just need to do a file place. That's a little bit more of a step. the biggest concern, it's okay, that's a great guess for sure, but the biggest thing is your file size will be a lot larger. Because embedded files, you're not linking that file, the embedded files, the con of that is your image will be a lot larger. So it's going to take up a lot more memory and space. And if you have a, multi-page document with all embedded images, it's going to be a huge file, which means it's going to take a little longer to print and send and all that stuff. So that's why you want to avoid that. Now there's also pros about that, so you don't have to worry about linking it. But so when you send it to the printer, what file type do you send it as? Now that's a good question. I've worked with many different printers. Some of them want you to send a high-res PDF. Some of them want you to send a packaged file. Say if you're doing an InDesign, they want you to package that file so that they have access to the native file, but all the fonts and images are included. Some of them want, depending on what it is, like a high-res TIFF file. So really, typically it's a high-res PDF, but it really depends on the actual piece and then also the printer. But you just want to make sure that you're converting your images correctly so that they're the right resolution and the right color mode. All right, so ensure that artwork has an adequate bleed. What happens if you fail to create a proper bleed area for your print files? Think about that. You just want to make sure that you have that. If you have anything bleeding off the sides on a web press, printing press, things shift. So if you think, oh yeah, I have this box right up against the trim edge, if the paper shifts, you're going to get this little white gap. I guess it'll be the showing of the paper, which you don't want. So that's why bleeds are set up. So if the press shifts a little bit, you have that room and it doesn't look like a mistake. Proofread to check for mistakes that spell checkers don't catch, such as grammatical errors and words that are spelled correctly but aren't what you intended. What things must be considered when proofreading your artwork? So it's pretty crazy. I've actually been at press checks before. Do you guys know what press checks are? Have you ever heard of them? Okay, so for several ad agencies, I was on a couple press checks, a few of them. You don't necessarily have to be at press checks. It's really up to the agency and then also the client. But I actually we had a really big client, Alcoa, which is a big aluminum company in Pittsburgh, and we were doing their benefit guides. And their benefit guides for the company were hundreds of pages, and there were probably I would say at least 20 different ones for their employees, sorry. And it was just a lot of copy. And it was very important copy because it had to do with their health benefits. So because of that, the Alcoa people who represent Alcoa, who worked with us, wanted us to meet at the press check. It was a press check. So they would go to the printer with us, the designer, and we would actually stand there with the client and go, look at page per page, every page. We would flip every page, make sure everything is printed correctly, copies not being messed up, literally signing every page. The client would sign it. Yes. Now that's a little bit of more of a very nitpicky type of a project because it was, if they screwed up on any type of wording in there, then that's a bad thing. And we wanted to make sure we didn't get in trouble either. So it's kind of a good thing for you because you have the client there who's signing off on the pages. So if anything gets screwed up after the print job, it's not your problem. They were there, they saw it, they looked at it. Now, a client may just want to go there to check on color. So if you don't get a color proof sent to them and they really are really picky about color, you can go to the press check, they'll check it on the press. If anything happens, you can change it, but they sign off on it and it kind of protects you in a way too. Yep, exactly. So you can kind of stop it if it's not looking right. So it kind of can help. And plus you get to see, and it's really neat if you guys get to ever do a press check, you can go to the printing press, the actual place, the printers, they love graphic designers. They always try to smooth, try to get you to do print jobs there. So they're always trying to, kind of get you there and give you like food and all kinds of really cool things. So they try to like suck up to you. But they also show you the plant itself. They'll walk you through. You can see how things are printed. So you get to, it's a lot of the process that you get to look at, which you may not have before. So it's really neat to kind of be in that process of it, which most people sometimes, and there's times where you just have it printed and sent. You don't even go to the press check. You don't do that. So sometimes you get proof sent to you or the client before they actually print out a whole bunch of copies. That way, if you catch anything color-wise or whatever, you can have it changed. Schmooze, that's what I was thinking of. Thank you. Schmoozing. Yeah, we used to have printers come to our offices all the time, schmoozing us, giving us like candy and trying to get us to do our print jobs there because they want your business, and you're not necessarily always going to use the same printer all the time because not all printers have what you're looking for depending on the job that you're doing. Some may not have certain die cuts that you're looking for. Some may not have certain web presses that you need or printing presses that are needed for a specific job. So that's kind of fun when you're in that situation. They kind of suck up to you. All right, any questions about that? So just kind of hit upon some of these points, kind of thinking about, what to have a look out for whenever you're getting your files ready for print. Yeah, there you go. And, that they can also come to, if you're a freelancer, you can meet up somewhere to just go over things too. The paper reps are very similar to that too. They come to your office or meet you, and they'll show you all kinds of different papers that they have available to print on. And they give you all kinds of neat little presents and packages too sometimes because they want you to buy their paper. Because if you think about it, that's a lot of money. But you want to see examples too, because if you're printing on a certain paper, some of it is it's very tactile. So sometimes you want that effect from the paper itself. Yep, exactly. Sometimes it's they can give you some discounts and stuff. I like presents. I like candy. We always like candy at the agency. We used to be like, oh yeah, bring us candy. Like we needed it, right? We used to go, we had a paper rep that became really good friends with my old bosses at the ad agency, and he would have us over for dinner, in the evening, and, and a lot of those people do know other people in the business, so you kind of get networking too. So it's kind of like one of those really interesting experiences. Okay, so no questions about the discussion. We're good to go, right? Yeah, catered lunch, yep. Go out to lunch. They'll sometimes buy you lunch. All right, creative craftsmanship. So we always have to think about, free is good, yep. Designers should be creative thinkers, great problem solvers, and impeccable craftsmen when it comes to creating their digital designs. It's not just about the concept, it's about the presentation and the craftsmanship that's put into it. If you just, spent all your time on this beautiful piece and then you just presented it and it didn't present very well, you had it very poorly presented, or the craftsmanship of it wasn't that great, that's all going to take away from your overall concept. So beauty is in the details. Sorry guys if you hear my puppy crying, he's missing his mommy. Presentation is key, yep. So being aware of attention to detail when working on your final file artwork will help you meticulously recheck your work for minor and major mistakes. It's always good. I see a lot of people in here that are OCD. When I say OCD, you kind of go over the nitpicking, which is great. That's exactly how you need to be. You need to zoom in on your work. You need to make sure everything's aligned. You know, all that's great. I mean, it might drive you nuts because you feel like you're like, you know, you're never happy. You always find something wrong, but that's how you should be. You need to really pay attention to those details. And that's really what could make or break you as a designer, because sometimes when you don't pay attention to those details, that can get you in a lot of trouble. So really kind of make yourself be more aware of those details and take care of those details. So if you're more OCD like I am, that's a good trait to have in the design world, because that makes you, you know, a little bit more meticulous in your details of your work. Okay, avoiding pitfalls. Every file that is going to press requires careful checking before being sent to a service provider, printer for imaging, to film or plates. Yeah, exactly. There's a balance there. Yeah, balance is good, right? So don't try to, you know, beat yourself up too much about it. So, you know, just like we talked about, you just want to make sure you're avoiding any pitfalls that may happen. And, you know, everybody's human. People make mistakes. What you need to do is learn from those mistakes. But don't feel bad about reaching out to your printer. They're there to help you too. So if it's something that you're not, you know, you're not sure of, call them, contact them. They'll help you. You know, I've had numerous times when I'm like dealing with a project that's like die cuts and foil stamps and embossing, and I'm like, I have no idea how to set this up. And they walk you through it. So they're there too to help you. Sometimes it's obviously who you're working for too, if you're working in a creative team as well. But uh-oh, Jennifer got back in again. So avoiding the pitfalls. We're going to be creating design mock-ups, and we're going to be looking at that in a second here. But what I wanted to show is a couple of your examples from, I have 3 sections of this class. So I pulled a few from last week that I thought would be nice to look at and talk about here. So if you don't see yours up here, it doesn't mean that you didn't do a good job, but I just wanted to show a few here. And these have comments in them, so just kind of know that they're in the works too. I have my feedback given here. Can you guys see this example here? Okay, we saw this one before. I think this is a great example to show you how pattern and texture really works for this package, giving it a more subtle look, but making it look more dynamic. It's not just a flat color. Excuse me. But there's good contrast. So the copy is easy to read over top of that because the contrast is good. Yeah. Just a few things, and what I kind of touched upon before, you know, check out your ingredients in your warning area. Make sure it's not going over, I would say 11 or 12 point. You want that to be smaller than what your intro copy or your description copy is. So kind of be aware of that. All right, so that was one that I wanted to show. I have actually a few here. Here's another one. I really like the warmth of this piece. I think that it's not a black, like a harsh black. It's almost like a warmer black. Yeah. Well, I think that if they go a couple point sizes, it won't be such a big deal, but I would have to check and see. If that's the case, you know, obviously you would have to make it a little bit more subtle as far as the pattern is concerned. The only thing with this one is, what do you guys think is going on here? The cover's on the wrong panel. So the cover needs to be on this panel and the back cover on this panel. It's a great design. It looks great. It's just the panels need to be flipped. Yep, it's okay. Yeah, easy fix. All right. This one is Lisa's, and she worked very hard on this. Lisa, you did your own artwork for the back? Yeah. She worked very diligently on this, sending me some via email to take a look at. So it was really neat to see your process there. And you know, you should be proud of this piece because you do have your original artwork in there. How cool is that? Yeah. So the overall value and tones of this are just, you know, amazing. You know, this is something that would definitely pull my eye into the product and want to take a look at it. Just the abstractness and the colors and the tone of this work really well together. So, you know, I think that you did a great job with hierarchy and alignment. I think that all kind of comes together in your presentation as well. Yep, the blue looks great. So notice how the ingredients is much smaller than the intro or the description copy on the left. And that's exactly the hierarchy that I'm looking for on your pieces here. Good job. All right, so this one is the next one here. Good job. For those of you who are, oh, let's see if I can get, oh, this is the label. I didn't show your labels, huh? Let me go back. This is the label, the hang tag that you're doing. Now, because you're doing a hang tag, you might want to think about, you know, how big this is going to be. Yeah, it might not be so tough. But, you know, think about how that's going to look in your presentation. This is the label for this one. I'm sorry, guys, I forgot to show you guys the labels. And this is the label for this one. Oh, this one doesn't have a label. I guess I didn't download that one, separate PDF. Okay. So this is another one that I thought was pretty successful in regards to just very subtle abstract backgrounds, making it more dynamic. You know, the colors are working really well here. Hierarchy is good. And then the label up here. Pay attention to detail. You know, I noticed some of you aren't, you know, perfectly centering some things. I see that this is a little off. So just kind of paying attention to that. And make sure you have enough space in between your elements. You know, this one, there's just equal space all the way down so it all runs together. Think about proximity and how you can pull groupings of elements together so that you have that visual pause in between that's much needed for your elements. It just makes it easier to view and makes it look a lot nicer. Here's another one that I thought was, what a great color being used here. There you go. Yes, I love this color. I mean, that just is a very powerful color, very rich. The colors that you chose for the logo work really well with that background. You have a, you know, good contrast. Here's your label here. It works really well together. You can just see that pop of color. Just looks really nice with that dark color. It's a very rich. I don't even care if there's a texture in the background, just because I really like the richness of this. And I almost see it maybe printed on some type of a textured paper, you know, thicker textured paper. Yes, it's beautiful. That's where you pulled the red from the image of a glass of wine. Very cool. I love it. As soon as I saw that, I was like, yes, this is it. This is perfect. The color works perfectly. Great job. This is another example of how the color works really well for this piece too, just opposite ends of the spectrum here. So we're looking at more of a blue color, but how rich it looks. And with that gray color combination, the color harmony is just right for this. You know, it has that real nice, just like the other one that you saw, the very classic look to it. You're welcome. So that's what we're looking for, a very classic look to this. So it's showing that, you know, obviously it's a vineyard and you want to show that sophistication, that richness, but also visually you're doing that with color, with shapes, with typeface. So here's the label front and back. I really like how the shapes were used here too to kind of make it unified with the label. And you can see how this part of the panel is much smaller than the description part. Perfectly done. So just kind of make sure you're doing the same thing on your pieces, hierarchy-wise. Yeah, the front and the back look great. Here's another one I thought was really good in terms of just something very unique, shapes being introduced here, and textures, just subtle but something different. I like the front a lot because that's just very nicely balanced. Yep. The tones are perfect. Everything's readable. And then here's the labels. Yep. Nicely done. A lot of you guys did a great job. So you guys should be proud of where you came from here. I saw a lot of you guys really progressing your work, just taking the feedback and going with it, which is great. Yeah, I like the font too. It looks good. Here's one using a nice leather texture in the background. Some suggestions to maybe pull it so it's bleeding up over where the top is. Centering the logo a little bit better here too. Yeah, on the back too, could be, yeah. Because it could wrap all the way up and around the back. That would be great. So then just the side panels are just a flat color. But I mean, I'm just showing you, this is how simple. So for those of you who needed a little bit more to your piece, say if I said, oh, it looks kind of a little bit more, it looks flat, it needs something, this is a great example to show you of something very simple, yet, you know, effective. Oop, let me show you the label here. Now the label, I almost wish this texture was introduced into the label, which it is not. So I had suggested about using that texture somewhere here just to unify it a little bit. Doesn't necessarily have to be, but because there's not really much going on the label, which I like simple, yet you need to make sure you have some type of dynamic thing going on, so it's a little visually interesting. Here's another one I thought was just needed a few tweaks to this, but I like how simple the graphics are for the front here. Yep. And they're using that on the label, this nice little windy flourish, and using the colors to kind of make it a little bit more subdued in the background. It's not full, you know, it's more a darker saturated color, so it's not the focal point. Just kind of have to pay attention to, you know, how things are kind of laid out here, hierarchy, you know, centering things properly, a couple details that need to be looked at here. But for the most part, I thought this was a good one to also show for the graphics. Here's another one. I don't see a lot of hot sauce ones, so here's this one. Now, the only issue that I have with this one, I think it's really cute, is the fact that the logo is being kind of wrapped around the side. And I really wouldn't mind that, but I'm worried about it on the shelf. If you think about your product being on the shelf next to other products side by side, you're gonna only see half of this logo. Now that's okay if you have the logo again somewhere on the front, and maybe this becomes a secondary element where it's more, you know, transparent in the background, where it becomes a pattern more so than the actual logo. So that was my suggestion. You know, obviously I would like to see the logo in full on the front so that consumers know what it is. This can still be used as it's showing, maybe just not as bright and saturated, maybe more of a pattern. But I like the label in this. I thought this label was kind of cute and interesting. Yeah. Some alignment issues going on there, but easy fixes. Okay, this one we saw before, the actual package, but the label, here's the label here. Did he continue the? No, I didn't continue that up. Yeah, we were looking at this before. Here's the label. They did a great job with keeping it simple. Yep. Very sharp. All right, a couple more here. This one definitely progressed. It was kind of neat to see this progression too. Originally, this person had the image real small on the front, and I said, why don't you just bleed it across, you know, make it go into the other panels so it's a little bit different. So this person did so, and I think it gives it a little bit more of a different look to it. I like the colors overall, just a few adjustments to the type. And I think one more. Oh, two more here. Kind of neat to see what everybody's working on, huh? This one's very simple. Here's the label itself. And then one more. Guess whose this is? Hey, Lisa's. Yeah, she was a trooper on this one. Yep, the color is great. Very rich. She did a great job with the texture in the background. And, yep, she did. Just the overall details look, yeah, they're just, hierarchy is perfect. Subtle changes in the value of certain words. Great job with doing that. The fonts, yes. And then the label turned out really well too. I think you did a great job with that as well. But look how that logo just pops right off of there. I like how you did the gradient in there. And usually gradients don't work really well for logos, but I think in this case, it's working. It kind of gives it a three-dimensional look there. Mm-hmm. And I almost can see that as being like a silver foil type of a embossing or a print ink. Yes. Yep. So great job. Good job, you guys. Super proud of you guys. Great to see you got your progression and just seeing you guys work really hard on this. I think, this can definitely be a very strong portfolio piece. If you're struggling still, it's just, this is a difficult project. It's hard to get all the pieces together. So don't give up. A lot of you guys who did great this round were struggling last week. So, obviously the time that you put into it is super important. Okay, great. All right, so great job, you guys. Very cool to see everybody's examples and just be inspired by what, and learn from each other too. Just be inspired by each other. It kind of pushes you to do better too when you see somebody else's work, I think. So hopefully that was the case here. Oh, awesome. Yeah. And it's not something that you have to go into fully. If you're, this is kind of inspiring you to maybe be a package designer, you can go out and be a package designer. But if you work for an ad agency, you could do a little, that's what's nice about an ad agency. You can do a little bit of everything. But, package design can definitely be a fun. And, not all package design is fun. So just FYI out there, there's some that are very, conservative and not as fun. But, it's just like with any design. You can have a really fun ad or a really more conservative ad. All right, guys, I'm going to give you guys a 5-minute break before we get into your assignment 4. Does that sound good? And we'll get started with your 3D mock-ups. Sounds good. All right. Yeah, that's the magazine layout. Mm-hmm. I love publication design. That's one of my big loves too. All right, guys, see you guys back in 5 minutes and we'll get going on our final project. Okay, can you guys hear me? I see your chat there. Talking about eggs. My daughter, my 4-year-old daughter, loves eggs. I just went to Trader Joe's yesterday, and we bought these already, and I usually don't do this, but I thought I'll just buy it for salad. These hard-boiled eggs, they're already like made and deshelled. She ate like 6 of them yesterday. My crazy 4-year-old. She loves them. You can hear me, that's good. Yeah, they're really, I love eggs. I couldn't imagine not liking eggs because it's like that's my thing for breakfast for sure. Ooh, egg salad. Yeah, I have to make that too. A whole container of tomatoes. Oh, geez. You know, it's funny. I bought tomatoes for the salad, and my 4-year-old, she says, "Mom, you bought potatoes." I'm like, "No, they're not potatoes." She couldn't say tomatoes. It was funny. Oh, geez. All right, you guys, let's take a look at your final project here. Well, that's good though. It's better than junk food, right? That's funny. All right, so basically what we're going to be doing is converting your templates to mock-ups. So we're going to make it look, you know, hopefully very nice presentation-wise. This might be a little challenging for some of you depending on the size of your templates, so we'll just kind of work through it here. I found some templates that I can provide you guys with to kind of play around with too. And I will be posting that to announcements after lecture. Because I know some of them, you know, you have to pay for and it's kind of hard to find. Okay, so for this assignment, you will create a 3D prototype of, you're welcome, of your final design and submit to the client. In a professional setting, a mock-up is an important step in the design process because it provides the client a better understanding and visual representation of how the finished design will look in real life. Here are 2 easy ways to create realistic-looking packaging mock-ups for professional presentation. Use smart objects to apply your design to a template, and then use a Photoshop action to make a 3D mockup. Okay. When you are done, you're going to submit your final file. You're going to name it as such, submit a PDF, upload final mockup to your Behance portfolio site, and then you're going to send an email to your faculty advisor and then CC carbon copy me with the URL link to your Behance portfolio site. I'm going to get to this stuff probably on Thursday. We'll just kind of focus on the mock-up part today. So Photoshop action is exactly what it is. Let me go back in here and show you here real quick. It's just basically you can, hold on, let me open up this. I found some mock-ups, and like I said, I'm going to give you guys a link because I can't just provide you with just a package file of it because they're just really big memory-wise. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you a link to a Dropbox or a Google Drive so that you guys can have access to that. So actions are what they are. If you go up to if you open up Photoshop and you go to Window Actions, actions can be downloaded, kind of like, I'm trying to think of the word here. They're basically, what they are is they'll kind of create, you know, a texture or image effects. So like say for instance, you know, in Instagram when you have a photo and you have all those filter effects, you know, that you just click on. Well, there's steps to that in Photoshop that you have to go through before creating that filter. So actions are basically those steps. And you can apply those actions to your work so that it looks like that. So there's, you know, and I kind of, I have to actually choose the right layer here. I'm not doing this correctly, but what it does is it kind of creates the filter automatically in steps. So say if you want to make it look like an aged photo, you can kind of do so with the effect too. Now there's templates too, and actions for templates for what we're kind of working on as well. And what you can do is you can upload these. So if you go up to the right-hand panel box, you can actually, let's see here, there's one, you can save actions, you can actually download actions, you can actually create an action yourself by recording your steps. So there's a lot that kind of gets involved in that. I think the easier way to do this is kind of just using a PSD mockup template, which is what you're looking at here. Yeah, I would probably just go with this step just because I think it's the easiest way. There's not so much kind of like steps that you have to take. It's already kind of, it's already mapped out for you smart object wise. You're just kind of placing it into the smart object. So this is the one that I found for me that's free. Yeah. So have you guys ever worked with PSD mockups before? Okay. Yeah, they are pretty fun. So when you download a PSD mockup, and you can find one yourself, you know, you don't have to use the ones that we're using. You can do this, you know, kind of find whatever. But when you download it, and some of them you have to pay for, but the ones that I found are free. When you open it, you'll see in the layers folder, and there should be some type of indicator telling you either highlighted in different color, the panels that you need to click on to paste in your work. So for instance, if I hide this, let me pull this over. See where it says the right side? They're talking about the right side of the box. See how that kind of disappears? It's kind of like the right side of the box. Yeah, you can make your own too. And it's just smart objects that you, here is the sticker, and that would be the front of, and you can't see this, that the sticker is the front of the bottle here. Now, if you didn't want the bottle on there, obviously you can hide the bottle. There's a couple of steps that you have to do to hide that. The base is here. So there's different layers that go into this that you can play around with. And here's the mock-up bottleneck part if you wanted to do something with the neck. And again, the sticker part. Here's a varnish. You know, there's just different types of varnishes, hue, you know, you can play around with that too. So there's some things that you can change in here, the box as well, that you can play around with. Okay, so basically what I want to show you guys is this is like, can be a little tricky. Let me go back into my kind of where we ended with my box first. Let's do the label first. So I think that's a little bit more simple. I don't have my AI file here. Hold on. So what I would say is let's open up the label. Here we go. Yes, exactly, Carla. You can use this one. You can even use this one for your hot sauce. You would just maybe just swap out the label. Now, obviously, it kind of looks more of like a wine bottle. You can put in another wine bottle mock-up into that so you have the box next to it. So just a suggestion, because I think the one thing that I ran into was trying to find a hot sauce bottle that you didn't have to pay for. I found some sauce bottles, but they didn't go with boxes. So you can kind of combine the two. I think it would be simple to do there. And I can show you how to do that just when we get to that point. So this is my, oh, sorry. This is my label that I did the whole demo on. I don't know if you guys remember this. So this is basically what I'm going to export this. Okay, export this out. So if you have a wrapped label, I would do the whole thing. I only have the front. If you have a front and a back, you might want to show both, depending on how you want to show it in your presentation. But I'm going to show you the steps that I would take for my project, and then we'll go from there. Okay, see how my element here is kind of outside of my artboard, this pattern? If I were to export this out as is, it's going to give me a huge artboard because this is way outside here. So it's going to show this big white box. And I don't really want that, right? I don't really want to deal with that. So I'm just going to do a step before I export this out. I'm going to just take my rectangle and I'm going to put it all the way across the same size as my label. Just give it like a stroke. Have that selected. So I'm just selecting that shape, has just a stroke on it. I'm going to shift select my pattern. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a clipping mask so that I don't have this outside artwork. It's just being clipped into my square that I just made. So with that square and a shift select of my object, I go up to Object Clipping Mask and choose Make. So it basically crops it into my actual art, my layout. So I don't have to worry about extra around there. Now I'm going to go and do a, let's see, an export as, and again, I'm an illustrator. And I'm going to save this. I'm just going to save this as a high-res JPEG. That way, I'm not dealing with a huge file. I think it will work really well as long as I'm paying attention to the high-res part. So I'm going to hit export, and it's going to say RGB. I can switch this to CMYK at this point because we're going to be using it for print, maybe printed purposes. If you don't switch that, it's okay. I'm just saying if this were going to print, say if you're printing this, now obviously this isn't going to be the piece that's actually printed. If you were printing this piece, it would be the actual flat file of your artwork. You would change this to CMYK for that reason too. High res 300 pixels per inch is what you need to select your work for, so that's high res JPEG. Click OK. So that's it. So now we go right back into Photoshop. I'm going to do a lot of back and forth here. Go back into your PSD template, and I want to place it on my my actual bottle. Excuse me. Now, I actually placed it here before, which now I'm wondering if I should have placed it up here. So I'm going to try something real quick. I'm going to double click on where it said sticker. Did you guys get that? Let me do that again so you see that. See where it says sticker? What you're going to do is double click on that. And when that opens, you're going to have the size of what that sticker is going to be, how that's going to be placed in. Now you're going to go File, Placed, Linked, and you're going to find that JPEG. Remember that high-res JPEG that I just exported out of Illustrator? I'm going to place that right into my layout. Now this is the issue that you might come to because this is something that we didn't, obviously it's a mock-up, so we didn't get the exact size of, and this is what I mentioned before last week. I said maybe find a template first so you get the exact size, but it's pretty similar in ratio. So I'm going to hold down the Shift key. Holding down the Shift key will help it so it doesn't distort. And I'm going to size this, although it does look like it's distorting, huh? Hold on. I am holding down the Shift key. There we go. I don't know why it's doing that. All right, let me cancel this out. And go back to history here. Place linked. For some reason it's not, It's almost like pulling it to that. Yeah, just make sure it's kind of going over a little bit so that you don't have that white gap. Okay, this looks pretty good. When you get it in the spot that you need it to be in, you go File, Save, or Command S. And then you go back to your, this is what's just your, what are these called? Your other panel here. I'm drawing a blank. Panel. Sorry guys, it's been a long day. But it's once you hit save and go back to your mock-up, it's gonna show hopefully your artwork in place. Thanks. Now, so I had originally placed it, when I was going through this earlier, I placed it down here where it says sticker. And it looks like it already placed it here as well, so I think I'm good. But, you know, some of these effects you can kind of play with too, if you don't want certain things. So that's it. So now I'm going to save this, save as. Kind of easy, right? You don't have to worry about, it seems easy. I'm going to throw too many steps here. Now the box part, I'm going to show you how to do the box. Okay, so I'm going to go back to Illustrator. Box may be a little trickier because it's bigger in size, but we'll try to make it work here. Looks like I didn't save the original file. Give me 1 second, guys. There we go. It's just in my other folder here. Thanks, guys. All right. So this is my box, and you can see I have artwork outside of my box. So what I need to do, and this too, is what do I need to do, guys? Just like what I did before, I need to do a clipping mask, right? Yep. This one, because I'm not really gonna show, I just wanna show the front right now and the side. I'm just gonna draw my kind of a square just over this main part. So just a regular square. And then, so I'm not gonna worry about my flaps. I'm gonna do a shift select, and I'm gonna select the elements that are on the outside here. Okay, this one's already clipped. I didn't notice that, I already did that one. And I think that's it. Object, clipping mask, make, boom, right in there. Okay. Now it's gonna bring all of this stuff into, so I'll show you how to size this up correctly. We're gonna go File, Export, Save As. And I'm just gonna name this box. And I'm gonna save it as a JPEG. Make sure it is, I'm gonna change it to RGB, 300 pixels per inch, looks good. Click OK. And again, go right back to Photoshop, right back to that same PSD template because I have the box ready to go. This is gonna be a little different because it's a bigger file, but I'm gonna go find where it says the box. It has the right and the left. So I'm gonna do the left because I'm gonna make that kind of like the front. So I'm gonna double click on the left. And I'm gonna go File, Place, Linked. And my box JPEG's right here. And it's gonna be real small, but you know, I'm gonna have to adjust it. So you can see it's really, really tiny. So what I wanna do is I wanna crop it to just the front part. Now, I could probably do a clipping mask just on the front part, but save as before I export, just so I don't have to do this, but I think this is just easier to show you guys for now. I'm just gonna hold down the shift key and I'm gonna get this to the size that it needs to be on the front here. Couple things to think about though before we go forward, and I'll show you in a second. So once you get it where it needs to be, go ahead and place it. I'm gonna zoom in, make sure everything looks centered. Nothing's popping up or weird. This looks a little cut off up here, but I think that has to do with my clipping mask. I'm just gonna leave that alone for now, because if I get this any bigger, I'm gonna lose that. Let me scale it just a little bigger. The size is a little different because, you know, obviously we're dealing with our ratio versus the package ratio. So I'm gonna pull this down a little bit here until this pops up. Okay, that looks pretty good. If I were to go back, I'd probably maybe get rid of that top logo and maybe the bottom and adjust it a little bit before. But I think this looks pretty good. Now, the key thing when you pull this in, if you're good with how this is set in here, what I would suggest is using the crop tool and hit that crop tool. It's gonna kind of set its parameters around just the artboard itself. Just double click inside, because look at all the artwork around it. We wanna crop that. So I just double clicked and it cropped it. So now if I were to move this around, oh, it didn't crop it. Let me see here. Crop. It should disappear. It's going to prove me wrong though, right? Yep. Hold on 1 second. All right. So the crop previews here. Let's see. It should crop right away. I'm not sure why it's. Oh, you know what? It's not actually getting rid of the access here. It's just cropping it to that artboard. That's why. Okay. That's why I kind of was taking my marquee tool and doing an inverse, but it was telling me I have no pixels selected, because what I want to do is I want to get rid of that excess stuff. But you know what? I'm fine with it looking like this as long as my file size, I mean, it's big. That's kind of what I was trying to get this down to. If anything, I could probably go back to my Illustrator file and set up a simple panel and copy and paste it in there. And I'll show you in a second here. We can kind of do this over again so that it won't be as big. But in the meantime, I'm just going to save this, what I have. And then, oops, there we go. I have to hide one of the layers here so I could see it coming through because I have a filtered layer. So once I hide that right panel layer down, I can actually give this a transparency. This is just giving it kind of like a shade, like a little shade action there, but I don't want it to be 100%. So you can kind of see the front getting a little brighter as I go down with the opacity. Now, if I were to do this again, maybe my suggestion would be, now that I'm kind of going, I did this before and it seemed like it worked out, but I'm almost wondering if I'm going to save, so I go back to my original, I'm going to save this as front. So go back to your original document, select the front only. You know how we did the clipping mask with everything? What we're going to do is we're going to try and do that with just the front panel here. Okay. Because I named this a different file type, I can go ahead and get rid of a lot of this stuff in here. Some of this is on my other layers, but okay. Pull this over. And I could actually make this the size of the label to itself. Let me get my layers here. This is just a little couple more steps here. Let me get rid of that. Nope, that's not what I want to get rid of. So this size here, and I could go back and check the size of my Photoshop panel. Oops, back here. Let me go back to my Photoshop. Hold on, somebody just chatted something and I missed it. Uh-oh. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just find out what size this panel is. So I'm going to double click on it. I'm going to go image, image size. This is 3.333 by 12.25. So if I were to go back to Illustrator, and if I wanted that to be a little bit more to size, I would just, for purposes of placing this in my actual mock-up, I would just change this to be that. So I would do let's just do 3.5 by 12.25. So this would be the actual size of that. Oops, I want to get rid of that. Yes, that one. In the back. Okay, now I can do my clipping. So I'm just doing the same size rectangle. I'm just going to shift click this. This looks good. And then object clipping. Okay. And now I have this panel here and I can edit my artboard. So you want to do a save as if you do something like this because, you know, it can get kind of crazy. You don't want to lose what you have originally either. And this will just make the file size smaller because it's not grabbing all that other stuff in there. There we go. So then I would just get rid of these two. Front of box, I'm going to save this as an AI file, so if I need to change it, I can go back. And then I'm going to just do it like I did before, just save as, front box JPEG, good to go. Do CMYK. I know I'm making it look a little harder than it is. You don't have to do it this way, it's just getting it exact, like size. So if you're having, you know, if it's too big of a file too, that's something that you'll want to take care of. I'm just going to delete what I just put in there. I'm going to do a new file placement of what I just exported out as. And of course, it's still pulling. Hold on 1 second, guys. I must not have it all clipped out. I know it. You know what we're going to do? Oh, yeah. See, it's not all clipped in here. If you don't, this is a good example to show you. If you don't clip all of your stuff in there, which I don't know why this is in there, it's going to give you what I just had show up on mine. Let me just make sure I don't have anything else on my artboard. We got to have it exact, right? Yeah, I think everything looks good here. You can also save this as a PDF too. Oh, something else is being, what is this right here? I think this is my, I think it was my clipping. I'm going to save this as a JPEG and then I'm going to save it as a PDF so you guys can see the difference. And just make sure this is like a high quality PDF. All right, so if I go file place, I'm just curious if this is going to place differently And if not, you might save it as a PDF instead. Yeah, see, this is still showing my right side, so I'm still going to have issues with that. I'm going to I'm going to post the PDF or place the PDF instead. This might actually work better. Oh, let's see, it's still seeing my bounding box. I must have something on the right side there, but here it's kind of placing it a little bit better as a PDF. Let me zoom in. Somehow I'm losing that. Yep. So maybe that's probably the best bet. Instead of saving it as a JPEG, save it as a PDF. That way you don't have to worry about having any types of like lines coming in there. All right. So it's placed in there. Now the side part. And again, I would just do the same thing. And what's nice about this is once I have my Illustrator template ready, like this, for instance, all I have to do is go File, Save As, and I'll name this like right panel. Save it as an AI file. I already have the size already, saved out, so I just did a Save As. All I need to do is open that original template that I did. Let me grab that. All right, and I just need this right side. So I'm going to do a Command Copy. I'm going to pull it into my right panel. And I can go ahead and group this. Let me show my layers here. And make this, do another layer here. Make this like a 26 opacity so I can at least see the background here. So my baseline is here for the most part and it's a little different size is what I had for it's just slightly off the ratio. I'm just gonna kind of push this in position that I think looks good. That looks good. It's centered. I have a little bit centered on the top and the bottom. That looks pretty good. So all this other stuff I don't really need. See how I just did that? So now I'm just going to get rid of the stuff that I don't need. I need this. I don't need these panels. Get rid of all this stuff. Oops. Not that. So I'm just deleting the stuff that I know I don't need. A little repetitious there, but oops, I need that. All right. This I don't need. This is clip masked in here, so I have to undo this clipping mask to delete it. Okay, so then I'm going to clip this into this. Actually, before I do that, let me size this to where it needs to be. This is just my background layer here. And like I said, you don't have to do this step. You could just do it how I originally said and then size it to that spot. But it may be a little bit bigger of a file size. That's the only downside. Plus, you'll have to stretch it, like try to do it so it's proportionate. You saw how I was kind of doing that with the Shift key, and I still was having little problems with it, kind of moving and skewing and distorting, even with the Shift key down. Okay, I'm gonna have to zoom in here because I have to make sure I'm right on that line. I look good. Okay. So with that selected, let's do another rectangle. We're gonna clip this. Shift select, object, clipping, make. We're ready to go. So we're gonna save first, so I can go back and edit this if I need to. And then I'm gonna save as a PDF. We're just gonna stick with the PDF. I think that works best. Just make sure it's high res, like I said, high quality PDF. That's my side panel. Go back to my Photoshop document. And I'm going to go to the right one this time. So I'm going to double click on my right panel. I'm going to File, Place Linked. And I should have right box, right panel PDF. There we go. Place that in. Looks good. Save it. Command S. That's the important part. Let me get rid of that. And then, let's see here. It's one of these. There we go. So I just want to make sure that this has an opacity a little lower here so I can see the side. It kind of gives it a nice little sheen. So I can, kind of looks 3D there, but I'm dialing down the opacity. If I had that at full opacity, it's not going to show through. Okay, thank you, Naomi. So hopefully that wasn't, if you guys don't want to do the separate panels, just save out your big template as a PDF, drag it in, have it to size like I originally showed you. That's probably not going to be a big deal. Thank you. Now, obviously, I can't see the top or the back. So if you wanted to do that, you'd need to find a mock-up to show the top and the back, or do this over again with the back showing, with the other side showing, and maybe, you know, duplicate this so you have two different views. So maybe this one would be the front of the label with the front of the box, side of the box, and then do another file just like this, but have the back of the label showing with the back of the box. Does that make sense? You don't need to. I would just like to see the fronts, but if you want to do that, you know, if you're into it and you want to show the extra back, I know a lot of you guys spend a lot of time on your labels and winding that around and having a second label, you can. I won't deduct you points if you don't show the back. As long as you have it in your flat file, I'm good. And then what you'll do is you'll save this. So save it as a PSD file, which is already done. And then you're going to save it as a PDF, Photoshop PDF. And I'll show you when we meet up on Thursday kind of how to do the Behance part of this. Just for the purposes of sending this to me, just choose smallest file size for the PDF, because this is going to be a really big file. Just because mock-ups are just really big. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to share my desktop and we'll take a look at the PDF. Just open up the PDF when you get a chance. Just make sure it looks good. Let me hide all my stuff here. So here's my PDF. Now, obviously, it looks a little pixelated here, so maybe I would go a little higher resolution. Let's try that. Let me go back to my Photoshop. Maybe that's a little too loud. Let's go File, Save As, PDF Desktop. Let's change, let me see what the high quality is, just the size difference here. I'm just curious because we could just kind of change the resolution in there. Okay, so this is the high res. I think this is the low res. Yeah. So this one is 60. Oh, it's actually not too bad. Oh, 62 kilobytes. This one is, no, it's not too bad. Yeah, so do the high res. It's actually it's lower than I thought. And then your work won't look pixelated. So this is definitely, it's less than, yeah, it's less than a megabyte. So, yeah, so this is at 100%. Let's see, you'll make sure you're viewing it at 100%, looks good. But yeah, that's how I would present this. Now, obviously, not all of you guys are, thank you, are doing a wine label. So I have mock-ups that I want to give to you guys. Different bottle mock-ups. So I have, let me show you here. This one, for instance, could be used for, I don't know if you guys can see that. Can you see that? For hot sauce. Some of these were a little hard to find. This one could be used for the perfume. I don't know. This is kind of getting small. I do have boxes. I do have these types of spray bottles. Now you can eliminate some of these. You know, like if you, let me open this up, I'll show you. Yeah. Some of these are hard to find. Like if you didn't want to use all of these, just go to your layers panel and you can hide some of them. Hold on, guys. Let me pull this down here. Like say if you didn't want this bottle, you can hide certain bottles here to find the caps that go with them and just kind of center it. Say that you just want to work on this box and maybe this one. So maybe you'll eliminate, oh, that one. Let me find which one's which here. That one. And this one. I can find the box. Sorry, guys. There we go. And then, so you would focus on these two for your mock-up. So this would be the bottle that you're going to play around with. Let me pull this out so you guys can see a little bit better. Now you can always change the color spray bottle. If you just double click on that color picker, you can change that so that it's not like a specific color. This is the actual cap. This is the bottle itself. So if you wanted to hide like that sheen on it, if you wanted to place your design on here, you just double click on this part here, and this is where you would place your label in. Just hide this or trash this, hide this, trash this, put your label here, save it, and then it should place it in here. And then what I would do is just center this. So once you're done putting all that into place, I would center this. You can crop it to make sure you have it all selected. Yep, and then you can crop your layout. So if it's too much space, you can crop this. Use the crop tool, get it to where it makes sense. Might take a little while here. There we go. Okay. So there's that, and you can, use whatever bottles that you want. Here's another bottle for maybe, I don't know, this is for liquor, maybe a hot sauce. This wine one is kind of a weird one though. I probably wouldn't use that one. I'm gonna give you guys these mock-ups, and I have another mock-up in here. This one would be good for cologne or perfume, probably more so cologne. It looks more manly here. This one, and then that's the same one. And then the one that I did, which is the bottle. But like I said, there's so many mock-ups out there. It's just real hard to find ones that are free, a little tricky. So I'll try to provide as many different possibilities for you guys, and then send you guys a link to a Dropbox external hard drive so you guys can utilize it. Obviously this box is smaller, so you could definitely do something where, like if you're on the hot sauce, if you say you're doing the hot sauce, you could, let me open up the hot sauce one. I'm thinking that maybe I can try this. I'm not sure how successful this will be, because I didn't actually work with this actual bottle here. This might be harder too. Let me see if I can find another bottle. Because you want to show the box. So I'm just trying to think. Let me open this one up here. See, you could do something where you're placing in all of these layers. So I'm just going to do a copy here just to see real quick. Let me just do a little experiment here. So obviously, I mean, this looks like a wine bottle. So I don't know, maybe just, let me see if I can eliminate just the bottle. There we go. Now, obviously, you'd have to have a base in there. And I'm going to paste in this bottle. Oops. We have to get rid of the white background there. So I just pasted in those layers to see if maybe I can match up the bottle with the only thing is the bottle needs to be the size of the, I would say the box too. So I just have to go and try to find the background with that, which I think this is the background. I'm not sure if that would work. It's the really tricky part. Unless we pull this all the way at the bottom. And you just did like a white background. Just seeing what works here, guys. Give me 1 second. Yeah, you can make the box smaller, yep. Just seeing what would work best. That doesn't look too bad once you get that. So it's just finding like the, this information here. And then what you could do is just do like a background of white. Put it in the back here. And then where's the box here? I can make that smaller, like you said. You just have to make sure you're selecting all the layers that box is in. Maybe I can do it for you guys and then just give this to you. Oops. And that way you have it. Let me cancel that because I accidentally pulled in something I shouldn't have here. How did I pull in there? That's weird. Okay. That's still kind of connected to my layer. Let me try to figure this out. I'll try to like get you guys something for, I know that the perfume and the wine bottle are good. It's just the hot sauce box is the challenge here. So let me get this box a little smaller and then I can provide you just with this template so that you guys don't have to worry about it. Yes, exactly. I'm just trying to figure out how to do that. So I'm not affecting the other images in here. For some reason, it's linking everything together. It's one of those things. Just have to figure it out. Oh. I don't want to make the bottle smaller. All right, well, let me figure this out. It's, like I said, for some reason, it's downsizing a layer in here I don't want it to. I just have to figure that out. Oh, probably because it's in the details. Okay, sorry guys. It's in the wrong section here of my layers. Oh, what I think I have to do is just get rid of this white box in here. All right, let me mess around with this. I think I just need a couple minutes here to play around with the background and get rid of some stuff. But I can probably get this to size here. Oh, sorry guys. Me went a lady today. Is this gonna work now? Yep, there we go. I don't know if that's gonna be looking too small, but it's a start. And then maybe we'll just layer it so that works. Something like that. Not too bad. Any questions about any of that? I know kind of the wine is a little easier because the mock-up's already there and set to go. This one's a little trickier because of the box. I couldn't find a box that would go with that. But you know, feel free to composite these together just like I did here. Not too bad. Just have a couple little things to do. See if I can pull this all the way down so it has a base here to it. There we go, like that. And you can change the background, doesn't have to be white or anything like that. But you can go in and actually place in your size just like I did here. I'm just gonna leave it as is, as this, so you guys can play around with it. And then here is the details of the liquid in here. So if you wanted to change, let's say the color, go ahead and do that here. There's a reflection you can play around with. There's the actual artwork here. Image. The design here is where you would actually click on this red portion here to place your actual label in here. So whatever you, and I'm just going to trash these, and I'll just show you really quickly here. I'm just going to place in my label just to show you real quick. And this is obviously not belonging to this one, but yeah, exactly. Oh, for some reason, this could be a problem. it's not, I don't know why it's not, the shift key is not working for the proportionate part of this. Crop to bounding box. Holding the shift key down, but for some reason, it's stretching it. Look at that. And I can tell it's off because, yeah, my X and Y coordinates aren't the same. We don't want that. I don't know why the shift key is not working. It's driving me crazy. Yeah, I've never had this issue before. Let's see if maybe, it's really weird. That's so weird. I've never had that issue before. Oh, it just snapped a little bit. Yeah, there's something going on here where it's not, it's stretching it and it shouldn't stretch it. See how it's distorted? I don't want you guys to do that. It's like really, really bad. Let me try to figure that out too. Not sure what's going on. Oh, really? It's so weird. It shouldn't. I don't know. Okay, I'm just gonna place this in here for now just to show you guys real quick. There we go. So it would be your label there. Obviously it would be the hot sauce label. Not sure why that isn't being scaled proportionally, but that's driving me nuts. But that, anyway, that's kind of the steps there if you guys want to play around with that. I know I just showed you a lot of stuff, so you're like, oh. Let me save this here. Any questions about that? No? All right. We have about 5 minutes, so I'm going to kind of wrap it up right now. If you guys have any questions, want to review anything, we're going to be meeting the last lecture for this class on Thursday, so we can go over a lot of stuff. I will just open it up all for you guys. We'll go over the last steps of this project too, but I'll kind of have it so you guys can show your work. If you have any issues, we'll kind of be a problem-solving session for the most part for the last lecture. All right, guys. Does anybody have anything they want to show or talk about now before we wrap it up? Okay. All right. Thank you, guys. You have a wonderful day. And if you have any questions, let me know. Like I said, meet me on Thursday at the same time for the last lecture. I will have it open for you guys to take advantage of. All right, guys. Have a great day.